Hey Force fans, Shane again. Hope you're all doing well. So, I've cancelled quite a lot of pre-orders lately. I'll tell you why and which ones. Let's start with which ones. So, I've been umming and ahhing about what I collect, what my focus is going to be, and I've decided categorically now it's going to just be prequel trilogy and original trilogy. I've given I've given a lot of the post Return of the Jedi stuff a good go, you know, from the Obi-Wan show to Ahsoka to the Book of Boba Fett to Andor, and I've decided though that I'm going to stick with product that is prequel, so from Phantom Menace up to Return of the Jedi, and any kind of side projects that happen to coincide within that particular timeline. But outside of that, I'm also giving up the ghost on Knights of the Old Republic stuff. I thought the video games were absolutely brilliant, a lot of fun, but I haven't played them in possibly 20 years now, in all fairness. I am a gamer, you know, but I've got no real affinity for Knights of the Old Republic at all. And it would be quite dismissive, you know, of me to purchase figures from a series that I don't really have any affinity to anymore. So I've passed on the Mission Vow 2-pack. The figures look great, you know. I love seeing unique characters coming to the line, you know, Twi'leks, stuff like that. I do love it when Hasbro go the distance and bring us these particular characters, and it's great that fans of the of KOTOR have those figures available to them. You know, it's great, and I do hope that they continue doing that for that selection of fans. But for me, I've passed on it. I would rather just spend my money elsewhere on something that I would really get a lot of enjoy out of. Another pre-order that I've cancelled as well was the Jacen and Jaina Solo 2-pack as well. I never picked up the original Jaina Solo in the black outfit back in the day. I had toyed, you know, excuse the pun, I had toyed with the idea of getting it at some point, that original one, but aftermarket prices are just absolutely ridiculous. And as much as I love the expanded universe or the EU, and I love those new Jedi Order books, you know, I haven't read them for a long time, but I've passed on those two particular figures as well, which is a shame because they do look good. But I'm very, very conscious as a collector now, that a Black Series collector anyway, that I've got a number of figures that have been released, but they've got no counterpart. You know, a recent example of that I could think of is the young Count Dooku figure. A great figure, absolutely brilliant, you know, Christopher Lee likeness, swappable heads, you know, for the bearded and shaven look. Great figure, but he's got no one to sit with on the shelf. And this is what concerns me a lot, is that, you know, TVC have experienced this. Two main examples for them as well, the Bad Batch and the Rogue One crew, you know. It took them quite a long time to get Baze Malbus and Bodhi Rook in TVC, you know, and the film was out, what, in 2016? You know, Black Series had the entire line. So why can't Hasbro, you know, give TVC full teams as and when the product is airing, or, you know, in quick succession of it airing, you know what I mean? And the same goes for the Bad Batch. You know, I think they've only got Crosshair and Hunter, I think, in TVC. I mean, where's the rest of them? You know, it's annoying. It's very, very annoying. And this is why I look at my collection and I'm thinking, you know, I've got like a Kyle Katarn. He's got no one to go with. I got Young Dooku, no one to go with. You know, I do own a Darth Revan in the white tunic, and I've got Bastilla Shan, you know, but I'm going to pass on KOTOR. I'm going to pass on it. I'm going to pass on it, definitely. Another thing I've cancelled as well. I've cancelled my Rot of the Hutt in Black Series, and I've cancelled it in TVC as well. I just didn't really enjoy The Mandalorian and Grogu as a film. I didn't enjoy it, and I've passed on many T-Mag figures in the Black Series. I've only owned the deluxe Mandalorian that came out with the sword and, you know, the Grogu that goes on the backpack. That's all I've got. That's all I've got. I didn't buy General Ward. I didn't buy any of the relevant the remnant troopers that they brought out. I just couldn't be bothered. I couldn't be bothered. And this is it. I've got to be so selective now in terms of what I buy and where I buy. So I'm definitely just going to be sticking to the Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. More Shadow Lord I'll keep too, because I do like that show, and it's within the prequel original trilogy era. Andor, Rogue One, I'll get stuff from that if it comes out and it looks good. Obi-Wan, you know, if they do anything else from the Obi-Wan show, I'll pick it up. Rebels, you know, Clone Wars, you know, I do like Clone Wars, you know, I do like the cartoon. Not a massive fan of clones all the time, you know, but they do have some really good designs, and there's great characters in the Clone Wars as well. So, you know, but yeah, that is it really. That's where I'm going to be keeping my focus going forward. Predominantly original trilogy as best I can. I'm even toying with maybe looking at third party for certain characters as well, which Hasbro haven't made. You know, I may dabble in a couple of 3D prints here and there, you know, but yeah, I've cancelled a lot of pre-orders. I don't feel bad about it either, to be honest with you. I'd rather own something that I really love and enjoy, and let someone else have the opportunity to purchase, you know, for a segment of Star Wars that they absolutely love. I got no interest in the 501st at RT in the 501st color or the Imperial color, because it's just not my thing at all. So yeah, you've had a smattering of videos from me today. I am in the process now of doing a little bit more work on my prequel trilogy deep dive. I watched the first part of it earlier today, and yeah, I quite like what I've done. Definitely, it definitely feels like one of the better videos I've done, considering I'm quite new and I'm using a phone, you know. But I've you know, got some good sound and got some good clips in there and stuff, and you know, most importantly, I talk about the figures. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting that out as soon as possible. But yeah, that's all I'm gonna say for the moment. But I hope you enjoyed this video anyway. And there'll be more content to come. But I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I shall catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye bye.